it's good, otherwise we'll check. Okay, so let me just open my Sujoko folder where we have the HTML, where we have learned HTML. Let me create one more folder that is going to be a CSS folder, and we will learn CSS over here only, right? So this is it. Let me just check it once that we have gone live or not. Okay, I think we are live. Okay, so I think the session is only having my face only, but I have to share my screen also. So this is now here. You will see my screen, right? From that onwards, we will see what we have done till now. So basically, I have my folder Zujoko folder over here. We have previously have this HTML folder, but now we have created this CSS folder too. And here only we are going to learn each and everything, right? So about the CSS. Okay, so let me just introduce that what we are going to do now. If you don't know me, that so basically I am Omra Sharma, basically instructor at Zujo, and I am going to take your web development sessions. And if you have any kind of doubt, you can put it down in the comment section. And in this session, we are going to learn about CSS, that what is CSS is and how it's going to help us in building web applications and websites, right? So let's get started without wasting any time. Move on to the screen. So I have created another folder on CSS. Let me just create one more folder in that where we will see learn CSS. Okay, because we are going to learn each and everything over here, right? So in this folder, I will open my VS Code, and in the VS Code, okay, in the VS Code we got each and everything, right? So let me shrink it once or take it to the top. No problem. Let me just create one thing, basically index.html. That is basically the structure of the website, right? We are going to have structure of the website. There is some extra content. We will see it later on. But actually, that basically means, for example, if you want to know a little bit about that, so let's just explore it once, right? So meta tags are basically just for the information part of the website. These tags are not going to display anywhere. These are just for the internal purposes, for like how Google is going to give you points on the basis of ranking, how your website is going to look on a small screen. This will demonstrate that basically what kind of fonts you are using in your website. That is demonstrated by character set on this one, right? And next we are having another same that I also have some different working. But basically the meta tags are something that is very internal to the website, and that helps your website getting ranked. That also helps in various characters, like what is the character set that has used, and what are the viewports of the website, right? That how website is going to look like, right? Okay, so this is a little bit about meta tags. If you want to know more about that, we will have a separate session for that. If you want, please do comment, right? So with that note, we have created the structure of the website. We have started with the structure of the website, and here we will saying that Zujo go, and here will be saying that, okay, here will be seeing CSS learning, right? Okay, cool. So this is what the Zujo is actually doing is, okay. So basically we have the HTML side. Here we can define the structure of the website, and let's see what kind of structure that we are having. There is nothing apart from the body, right? So this is it for the index part. Okay. Next comes how the CSS is going to help you. Okay. So for example, I would like to say I am going to write something like my name, and yeah, that's it for that one. And let me just right click and go to the option open with live server, right? So open with live server will open this website on it. Why it is not opening, but it sometimes happens. You just have to go and open your Chrome browser, go and say localhost colon 5500. If that not automatically opens, right? So this is the way you can get the. But one thing you are always missing, that our websites are not that much colorful, no background, nothing else. So that is because we haven't introduced the styling for the website. Okay, we have just worked on the learning HTML that gives just the structure, but we have to introduce the styles in the website. So we have to include the styles. That is very simple. Okay, so how we can introduce the styles? So basically, after getting the structure, we have to introduce styles using CSS. CSS is a cascading style sheets, right? So basically what CSS do is it basically do everything that you want to in the visual terms that you want. Like for example, you want a color of a particular font or the color of a particular segment or the sector or a particular place in the website. You can do that. You can do that with the help of cascading style sheets, right? So you can add CSS in three forms. There are three forms of CSS that you can add. So let me put it there only. Let me share H2, and here we are going to see learning CSS. Okay. So now points comes is how we can add CSS. Okay. So let me put unordered list, and in unordered list we are going to put the first how we can introduce is inline CSS. First one is inline CSS. Next one is internal CSS, and next one is external CSS. Okay, let me just put it inside, right? External, right? Cool. So basically these are few types that how we can introduce a CSS. There are different type of CSS that we can introduce. For example, I want to style the name of my color, the color of my name. Yeah, that makes sense, right? So what I will do, I will go to the h1 tag and add one style attribute. You know about the attribute. Attributes give some little bit functionality to the tag, right? Here you can write like color colon and end up with semicolon, and you can write any color that actually have some name, right? For example, I would like to use blue violet, right? So you have you seen that there the color has been changed. There the color has totally been changed, right? So this is something that how we can use CSS in inline format. So here we are done with the inline CSS. So we will give it a 1, right? 1 mean okay, done. Okay, so we have introduced with the one part, right? We will see that what is how these things are being created and how we can use it. But first of all, we have to include CSS. We have so many things to create to do, but just we have for sake of thing, we are doing it here only. That how we can add CSS to a particular file. Before moving to another thing, I just another CSS style that we can add is internal CSS. So in the internal CSS, we can use. So basically in the internal CSS, we have something that is very important to learn is selectors, right? For example, how we can use CSS in the internal format, right? So before the style tag and in the mainly we use the CSS in the head tag. So always remind that. So use the style tag on the head tag. And here in between the spaces you can write CSS, right? So I'm not going to tell you right now about the selectors. We'll cover it later. But this is how, and this is the place where you can write the CSS. There are different formats to write that, but we'll see later on, right? So in this format, you can also write the CSS in between, right? So this is how you can write the internal CSS. And let me put one over here, right? I think that will work. So we have done with the inline CSS and internal CSS. Now we'll cover to the external CSS. So sometimes what happens is that it is not viable to write each and every property and the style here, because sometimes it's too much to create a beautiful interface, but it's required too much of code, right? So it may looks very much clustered in particular file. So what we do is we create another file for the CSS, a dedicated file for the CSS, and that will be named as styles.css. You can name it any, but there are the industry standards that you have to write styles.css, but you can actually name it anything, right? The main thing is the .css part, right? So let me just create that file, and This is how the external CSS is being created. But we cannot do anything from here to this file, right? Because both are not connected. If I want to change the color of particular thing over index.html, I can't do that because both of them are not connected. So how to connect them? So there is a very simple tag, that is the link tag. And here in the link tag we have, it automatically generates that what kind of link do you have, and there is one href. Href exactly means that where is the source code of that CSS file. Okay, let me just type it, styles.css. okay, let me just type it, styles.css, and this is how you can connect both of them, right? You can connect both of them. So we have learned that how we can add CSS to our project or our website, right? But till now we haven't seen a lot of things. We have just covered one property and value it's the color, but we haven't learned that how we can add things into the style, how the styles are being operated, and how we can add color or something using CSS to a particular thing, right? So what actually is CSS? Basically, the structure has been given, and the CSS have the capability to put things on that structure. So the internal CSS, how it works is it just enter to that and put the things over there, right? But we have something different. We have some controllers over here. Like we can control the colors over here and from here. So the CSS is actually outside. You can assume it like that. The CSS is actually outside of the actual content. Basically, you want to target that content, but it is not actually there. You have to control the particular style from outside. For example, I just want to add the color at H2. This one, learning CSS. So how can I be able to add CSS from here? So there is a way. There is a concept of selectors. There is a concept of selectors, right? So selectors are basically those things that actually picks the things from the HTML. For example, I want to pick this H2 tag. I can use H2 right away and semi and the curly braces. This is a element selector. Element selector are those selectors which are equally named as the element used in HTML, right? It is equivalent to that, right? I hope you are understanding. So through this tag, I can target each and every H2 tag in the index. Let's just see first that how am I be able to target it or not, right? So let's see. So I want to change the color of that particular tag, like color gone to brown. So you can see the difference in that the color has gone brown, right? This is the power of CSS that we are having. We can target each and everything, right? If you want to demonstrate that every H2 tag is being targeted, so let me demonstrate second H2 tag, and you can see the difference, right? There is another H2 tag and it is having a brown color. So this is how the selector works. So this is one kind of selector. For example, you want to select the full body, right? You want to select the full body, and in the full body, I just want to change the background color. There is one property that we can add, right? I want to do it burly bold. So I can do that through the tags, right? And this selector is known as the element selector. Okay, I hope you are getting. Okay, from that note, we are done with one kind of selectors. Now the thing arises that you want to target a particular selector. For example, you are having so many similar tags, right? But you want to select only few of them. For example, if I am using H2 tag, then it is going to affect all the H2 tags, right? That is very common to know. But now comes if you want to select a particular element, right? Then what will you build? Basically, for a particular element, for a particular single element, we haven't seen the ID attribute. So we have one kind of attribute that is called the ID attribute. So these attributes are obviously added to the HTML element. So for example, in the last second h2 tag, I am just writing. Let me just increase the screen size. So in the last h2 tag, I am going to add a ID of, for example, 12 or I would say last, right? So this is the ID. So this is the only ID this element is going to have, right? This is the only ID that this single element is going to have. So the property that ID have is the IDs are only unique, are always unique, right? So for example, I have to give this one an ID, so it always be unique to that particular element only, right? So I have given this ID to this element. So how can I target this ID? So to target an ID, we are having hash and that particular name of the ID. So the name of the ID is last. Through this, I am targeting that particular element only. Okay. So let's just demonstrate it. Let me just change the color of that element and set it to be coral. I think so. Coral color. Yeah. Okay. You can see that we have seen that the color has been composed over here, except others, right? So this is how the ID works, right? Then comes first we have covered the element selector. Next we have covered the ID selector. Next we are having a group selector or the class selector, right? For example, there are few other attributes. For example, you want to give it a class. Classes are basically attributes which are added to the elements where you want, basically a group of elements that you want to be considered as a class. For example, C1, this is a class. He's into the class. Class C1. So I'm creating these two elements and maybe another one into a particular class. I'm adding, I am giving them the attribute class and C1, right? Okay. So you got the point. So basically now these three are equally treated, they are being added to single class, that is C1, right? So how to target these C classes? Okay. So how to target these classes? To target all these classes, we have to say a dot and the class name, right? And then you put the curly braces, and through this you are targeting all the elements of the class, right? So we have added three classes. We have added three elements in the class, this one, and this one. Okay. And we are targeting through dot C1. So let's just demonstrate that with using a color thing. And let's see what we are going to do is, for example, I'm using cyan color. So as you can see that here we got the changes and the class, something like classes actually work. Basically I group the things in a particular class. So I think this is very much clear to you. The selectors are clear. And before that we have cleared three type of CSS that we can include. First is inline, that is inside the particular tag. Then the internal is this one, and external is that you write in this one. So internal and external are very much similar. If I cut it from here and I put it here, both are working the same. This is only used when you are having very less code in the CSS. Then you can put it over here. But if you are having hundreds of lines of code in this place, so that doesn't make sense. So to always remember that this is used for small cases. Okay. With this note, I think you are done with the CSS. That how what is CSS? We will discuss it. What are the type of CSS? How we can include this into our website, and what are little things that what are the selectors are. Okay. So I have initially told you that what is CSS in the initial sessions, but let's just again recap that CSS is basically makes your website more beautiful. Like it adds color, it adds background, it adds so many things that you actually see on the website. The visual part is mainly done with the CSS. CSS only. Okay, so this is the power of CSS that we are having, right? So let's just understand few more things that we are having. So for example, we have written body, that is, I guess you know, it's a element tag, and I have written something like background color, right? Background color to be pink, I guess, right? So there are two things, right? This is the property and this is the value. This impersonate that you want the property of that element to be this property you are actually adding, and what kind of value that property is having, this one. So I think most of the thing is clear to you, that this is the property and this is the value. There are so many kind of properties that you can use, and along with that you are having so many values, right? One property that we have discussed is color, and color we have used is this. So basically that actually gives the color to the body. Each element go get the color to be anti-square byte. Okay, I think you are getting the point. So color is getting this one. Next property that we have is the background color to be pink. I guess that is very much clear to you. Okay, so this is something that is very much required for the basic CSS, right? Next kind of property that we are having, there are so many properties. Let's not just deep dive into them, but let's discuss few of them, right? So for example, if you want to, it's a background color. If you want to do something like you want the shadow of a particular text, right? If you want the shadow of this particular thing, so I have to pick it once. Like this is the H1. So let's there is only one H1, so I can pick it through the element tag only. Okay, and I can add the text shadow property, and that text shadow property requires 2-3 arguments. Let me share it once. 0 pixel, 3 pixel spread, and black. Okay, so this is the text shadow that is really amazing. That will make you much more amazing in terms of this thing. Okay, no problem with that. Okay, not working actually. I guess 2 will be fine. Okay, so this text have the shadow, right? This text has got the shadow. So how this is happen? I have added a property that is a text shadow. I have added 2 things, that is 0 pixel. That means that how offset you want to create for the shadow. For example, I actually remove this first so that you can actually demonstrate that. Okay, if I want to add a 5 value, so you are seeing that there is the shadow moving, right? If I'm adding 3, so the move this value actually defines that where on which side you want your shadow. So positive, that means right, and this we increase, then that means in the below how much you do want. So this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. If you have the positive x, it will move to the right. If you have, this is the x1. If you have the positive y, then it will move upside down, right? So these are 2 things. Next value is the spread. That how much spread I want, right? How much spread I want. This is the spread that actually happened, right? This is the spread, and this is a text property that we actually use. So there are 3 properties that we have learned today, and there are a few things that how we can add the things. And this is just the start. We are not going to stretch it once because you have to explore it. Try it once on your own laptop, on machines, and get back to if you got any problem on the comment section, and try it once. Go through the links that I have provided, if I have provided in the below section, or you can watch the previous video for the links. Okay, so this is it. I think this is it for the today's session, and we'll get back again tomorrow, and we'll see new properties, new things, and day after tomorrow we will create an amazing project. We are not going deep dive into the CSS because it's a say that no one in the world knows CSS. So no problem with that. We will see things, right? We will see so many things. So I think this is much for today. We'll get connected tomorrow and we'll see in another video. So till now, go check out and work on that. And if any doubts, go in the comment section. If you like the video, then definitely like. If you haven't subscribed, go and subscribe. And we'll meet tomorrow again.